On Monday, we told you about a series of violent attacks over the weekend committed against journalists. Now, if you believe the CNN or CBC, they'll tell you that Donald Trump has whipped up people against the liberal press, and it's a disgrace what Trump has done. No. I have not yet heard of a conservative ever attacking a journalist, but I see every week leftists attacking conservative journalists. Our own company has been victimized that way, including our own Sheila Gunn-Reid, who was punched in the face at a women's march. Well, on this weekend in Toronto, it was the Toronto Sun that was targeted, and not even a writer or an opinion columnist, but rather a long-serving photographer for the Toronto Sun named Stan Behal. Here, take a look at when he was just doing his job, photographing some alt-left Antifa types in Toronto, flanked by 7 police, and he just got punched, grabbed twice. There he is. That's Stan in the blue. And look at all those policemen just standing there idly. Joining us now in studio is a woman who you may have seen in the bottom right of the screen there, who was standing mere feet away, my friend Sue-Ann Levy. Sue-Ann, great to see you again.
Hi.
There were so many police there.
Yes.
Stan
dozens and dozens.
Yeah, and just feet away there were 7. I counted them.
Yeah.
What was it? What was it like? What happened there?
Actually, the first time in my 30-year career, Ezra, that I actually felt intimidated. I felt scared. And you know I've been through a lot, and I am not afraid to throw myself into things, but not only did they attack Stan, but this group that whipped themselves into a frenzy screamed all kinds of stuff about the Sun, that I was racist. They had recognized me about a half an hour into my arrival
racist?
there.
What are they talking? Wait, so they got themselves all whipped up. So this was ideological. This wasn't just some opportunistic stupidity. This was targeted because of politics.
No. About a half an hour in, and Stan and I are going around together. We'd lose each other at some points. We were together. And one guy recognized me and he started screaming. And what they do is when they recognize you, they shout out. They do a shout out to all their other...
And the rest of the wolf pack comes.
Yes. And then I was stalked. I was followed by 3 lefty lesbians who started screaming that I was disgraced to the LGBT community. And I was intimidated and stalked by a cameraman who was filming for them.
Huh. Now Stan, I don't know Stan well. I know his name. Mm-hmm. He's just I'm not saying just a photographer, but he's not not writing.
Political.
Yeah,
he's apolitical.
He shoots interesting things, and this was an interesting thing. Why did they target him?
I don't know. There was somebody else at the rally who was shooting for freelance for the Wires, and she also was surrounded and intimidated. And I wrote about it in my piece on Sunday.
Now, did the police intervene in any way? Did they even say simmer down?
No, not at all.
Why? Can you explain that?
Well, I was told that they had been asked from higher ups, we don't know who, to stand down, not to intervene because it might escalate the violence. But frankly, standing there and feeling totally unprotected, I would say that all they did was enable and embolden these people.
And they proved it. But let's watch it in slow motion here because, Stan, I mean, he looks like he's in his 50s. And they grab his arm twice. He's holding his expensive camera gear. He's obviously not going to. So they grab his arm. So look at that. He's a young guy, probably in his 20s, grabs Stan's arm, wrestles him around, wrangles him, and then just grabs his hat. Looks like he's pulling his hair also. Like that's a real grab. And runs away. And that's not just like a goofy little snatch a hat and run juvenile stunt. That's a double grab, immobilize the arm. show it one more time. I think that's. So reach for the hat, he blocks it, so the youngster grabs the arm, immobilizes the arm, reaches over the other hand, grabs the head so much. Look at Stan's face. Look at his face there. It's obviously grimacing. Is he grabbing the hair? Is he grabbing the skin?
He grabbed the hair.
The other arm is immobilized, and he grabs it, and look at all the cops just delighted with a...
You see the guy there? Smiling. He was smiling.
Yeah, just smiling. Oh, that's a little bit of fun. Not doing a thing. Now, we have a still image of the hat grabber, arm grabber, assaulter. Let's put that up here for a second. That's him smiling. And why wouldn't he smile?
And to the right of him is a longtime Marxist, Barry Weisletter, who shows up at all these rallies and provokes the people, whips up these young people. So he also was there. And he, of course, we've heard nothing from him. He should turn this guy in, but of course he won't.
Yeah, well, and we would encourage any of our viewers, if they recognize this fella or recognize him from social media, to bring the information to the police, would be the right people. What's interesting is this was right there at Nathan Phillips Square. This is right in the heart of the democratic process in Toronto. Supposedly.
Obviously, if you are on, as you well know, if you are on the right and conservative and don't actually echo their view of the world, then, I mean, I would be concerned that people are starting to be targeted in the media.
Well, I mean, on our side of the media, I mean, I've never heard in history a CBC reporter being attacked in any way.
No.
Because they're allies with the alt-left.
No. And, you know, the media, most of the media, all but a few media were silent, have been silent.
Well, worse than silent. I want to show you. Now, there's an obscure blog called Canada Land. And its leader is Jesse Brown. He styles himself a media critic. I want to show you what he wrote about this. So we've shown about 4 times now. Stan raised his arm. The alt-left guy grabbed it, pushed it down, held it with one arm, and then grabbed Stan grimaced. So that it was an assault. I mean, just speaking as
and Stan, by the way, is 63.
63,
he's not in his 50s.
Yeah.
We've been doing it a long time, and he was slight. He's slight. He's much smaller than this guy.
So let me show you what Jesse Brown, quote, media critic of Canada Land, said. The appetite for crazy, violent lefty stories is indeed huge. It was the hat snatch heard across the nation. Well, that was a crazy, violent lefty. We've seen crazy, violent lefties everywhere. And you can see Jesse Brown, who, if this was, I mean, he goes nuts when there's a mean word on Twitter, Jesse Brown. But an actual violent assault that ended with a hat snatch, but that started with several grabs and I don't know if we call it a punch. He just diminishes it to call it a hat snatch. One more tweet from Jesse Brown. What about Stan's hat? No, we don't care about Stan's hat, although that is theft. We care about the fact that Stan, a 63-year-old photographer in a public space surrounded by police, was grabbed and held at bay, and his hair was then grabbed. That was an assault, and the police did nothing, and the so-called media critic cheered it.
Yes. And I dare say that many members of the media party, as you call them, were probably secretly giving it their tacit approval. There go the right, the conservative people who aren't part of the pack.
Yeah, absolutely. And I see this sort of the harmonization on the hard left. Jesse Brown and his obscure left-wing show called Canada Land. There's an NDP-backed website called Press Progress. They're really trying to whip up violence against the Toronto Sun.
They are, and we see that there's a concerted campaign.
Like they're really naming names and trying to whip up hate against you, Joe Warmington, who else?
Anthony Furey, up to a certain degree, Laurie Goldstein, but mostly Anthony Furey, Joe Warmington, and myself.
And they also mentioned Candace Malcolm. I know they hate
Candace
her.
Malcolm,
they hate conservative women. The fact that you're also Jewish and lesbian, they think, well, in 3 ways you're supposed to be liberal. Because you're Jewish, because you're a woman, because you're
I'm a betrayal. I'm a betrayal
That's
to
why
the
they
cause.
hate you. They hate you more than they hate a conservative man. Because they regard you as a betrayer.
And they even said that. They even said that on Saturday.
He said these 2 other left-wing lesbians said you're a betrayer of the sexuality or something.
Yes.
Jesus. Well, I have to say, I'm disappointed in the Toronto police, but I'm sure the order came from higher up. I can't believe that any young man or woman joins a police academy to be a partisan, approver of violence like that. I can't believe that a real cop would feel good about that.
I can't either. I think that they have been rendered in many ways impotent. The police force, I've written about this before. We are huge champions of the police. We always stand
more than anyone else. You're the only newspaper in Toronto that is.
And we certainly did not deserve what happened on Saturday.
You know what? The Toronto Star hates the police. The CBC hates the police. If they could get a Black Lives Matter anti-cop thing going in Toronto, and they sort of do.
You want to talk about betrayal?
Yeah.
That's a betrayal, because we certainly didn't deserve it, Ezra.
Well, I think, of course, the real blame lies with the perpetrator, that young man who was violent against a 63 23-year-old photographer. Let me ask you this, and I'm not asking you to give away any confidences or to put yourself in a difficult position, but I remember when our own Sheila Gunn Reid was punched in the face, and we can show some imagery of this right now. Sheila went to the Women's March last year in Edmonton. At a Women's March, was punched in the face by a New Democrat activist. And we sued. We took him to criminal court, we took him to civil court. It was a statement that you can't do that to someone at the Rebel with impunity. Has it, and if I'm asking a question that's too tough, let me know. Has the Sun stood by you and Stan Bihal? Is the Sun going to stand by its people?
It is, and our lawyer has been contacted, and we are, sort of vigorously pursuing charges. I am concerned about going to another rally like this because, as I stated to my, bosses, this is now becoming more and more, as you said.
We have to hire security.
Yeah.
We don't send Sheila out without security now.
Well, I'm looking at that as well.
Yeah.
I'm looking at that, frankly.
Isn't it incredible? And the rest of the media doesn't care, or they're cheering for the violent ones.
They are.
You stay safe, Sue-Ann.
Thank
we
you.
need you.
Thank
we
you.
need you. God knows.
My mom and dad are worried about me. My Jewish mom and dad.
I believe it. I believe it because you're supposed to be a journalist. You're not supposed to be a boxer.
Yes.
Unbelievable. All right. Well, you got to believe it. We know this. We know this. The number of Rebel personalities who have been attacked or Rebel alumni, and they go after the women, I find.
Yes.
Of course, Lauren Southern was attacked when she worked with us at U of T. Everyone knows Sheila Gunn Reid was attacked in Edmonton. One of our camera women was attacked. I mean, talk about cowardly. And of course, Gavin McInnes was attacked, but we all enjoyed seeing that, to be honest. I'm joking around it. Of course, it wasn't permissible, and Gavin would know I'm just joking. No, it's impermissible, but it seems to be permitted. That's an excerpt from my daily TV show, The Ezra Levant Show. Normally it's behind a paywall, but I thought you'd like this video, so we put it on YouTube. If you want to subscribe to watch the daily show every day, including always 2 interviews a day, and I read my hate mail, just click on this screen and become a premium member.